Hello, everyone. So I often hear people ask the question, I'm not really sure what I'm meant to be doing with my life. And I've heard it from people in the corporate world, people in the spiritual world, people in a lot of coaching groups I've been in. And for a lot of people, it's quite a big headache or a challenge, or at least like a discomfort. And I wanted to record this video because this topic is very, very close to my heart. It's something I've been asking myself since I was maybe not even 5 years old to just remember. I grew up in Russia, and I remember one night in particular, it was a New Year's Eve, and I was lying in bed, trying to have like a little nap so I can stay up all night. And that was the first time that thought occurred to me, who am I? Like, what am I doing here? Like, am I going to die? Is everyone going to die? And what happens after we die? And I remember even after, I didn't sleep at all. I didn't have a nap. And then I remember my mom and everybody was like cooking in the kitchen. And it was the first time I tried having conversation with my mom, I think, about it. But it was one of the adults was present, and nobody really wanted to talk about it. Maybe because I was a kid, but I think people back then, a lot of them, they just did not really think about these kind of bigger questions. And that preoccupied me my entire life, even in the times where I completely disconnected, I would say, from spirituality, from self-knowledge, and that was most of my life. It was always in the back of my mind. Even at night, sometimes I would go on my phone and type in, what happens to us after death? How do I find my purpose? But I didn't really actively seek it out probably until maybe 6-7 years ago, where it became stronger and stronger for me, to the point where I really struggled to find any kind of fulfillment or happiness in my daily life, even though my life on the outside was absolutely incredible. So when I hear people ask that question, when I see, how much discomfort it can cause them, I completely understand that. And it took me years to really figure it out. And even now, like, this is what I think my purpose is, but actually it's not one fixed thing. It can evolve and grow, but at least I've managed to find a direction and channel my energy towards something I believe in. So the question is, how do we find our purpose? Well, what I actually want to really emphasize here, yeah.
I ask you a question. What does purpose? Purpose is just like a big word with a big title. What does purpose means to you?
So purpose for me is being in alignment with my desires, with my soul. So it's like something that tries to come through me, that makes me feel fulfilled and complete, and following that without any questions.
Can I ask you more question to clarify through the conversation what purpose means?
Sure.
So does it necessarily means it has to be service to others? Like you have to have impact on the world? Does
No,
that okay?
I don't believe that. I
Okay,
think
and
each of us we all have, this journey is so personal, so individual, that we need to find it within ourselves. I mean, for some people, it's like the whole purpose, their whole being just wants to be a great parent to the kids. They just get joy in like playing with them and creating things and baking. And for so long, I was beating myself up for not being that kind of mother, because it's just, for me, it was something else. So yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be service to others, service to yourself. It's whatever it is that calling that comes through you. And it's just important to answer. So where I was going with it is that purpose is not something to be found outside of us. Purpose is who we are. This is it. And it's actually getting into integrity with all parts of ourselves. And what I mean by that is the way we show up in different areas of our lives needs to be congruent. So how we show up with work, how we show up with our friends, how we show up with our loved ones, with our children, it needs to be one whole entity and not different split personalities there and there. So it's the congruency, it's that wholeness. And that's why I believe, purpose is literally who we are, not what we do.
I'm not sure I'm following you how being in my purpose will help me show up.
Well, when you are in your purpose, you can show up as your authentic self. right? You're not going to be putting on one face, like, or putting a mask. You know how sometimes you meet people and you know that they're just wearing this mask. So when you are in your purpose, you are in your power, you are in your truth. And this is how you show up with everyone in your life. And this is then how you start navigating your life
From your purpose.
from your
I'm
purpose.
I'm debating with the same question myself, but I agree with you that for me the same is not something that is connected to service, necessarily to service to other. There are people that it's for them service to others. I think I'm one of them, but that I believe that I'm here to help other people, and that is my purpose. And I can give you an example how that is showing up in all of the areas of my life. So whoever gets to personally knows me know that I'm addicted to a lot of things, but one of them is going to the gym every day. And I'm a CrossFit addict, and I like to lift weights, and I also do yoga. But anyway, so even if you go out to the gym, and we've got like a very small group of women that exercise together, if they need somebody or they need something to help them, they know they will come to me. And it's like nothing that I ever said. Like, I'm not going around saying to people, my name is Sarit, I love to help. It's just come up. It's just come up from the small things that I do, that I get like widely known for my authenticity by being service to other. That's who I am. That's, as a mom, I show up for my kids. I'm helping their friends. Even when I'm doing something for them, it comes from love, of wanting to be there for them, always being the crazy mom who's doing the extra mile, and usually get the shock, you're doing that, you're taking them. And I never see that. So I'm service to other. That is who I am. This is how I show love. This is how I show in the world. This is just who I am.
Yeah, and as I said, we can all express it differently. We all have our own unique path. And for me, it's all about understanding myself. And it's always been, I need to figure out me, and only then I can be there for someone else. So like we spoke about service to others versus service for yourself. It's not to say I don't like helping people. I do, but I just help them from, I guess, a different place. And what I really wanted to say is, when people, when they say, I don't know what my purpose, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know what I'm meant to do, my advice is always go back to your childhood, because a lot of the answers lie in there. What did you love doing as a kid? When I remember, let's say about my childhood, from the age of 5 or 6, I almost got expelled from nursery, because I still remember I was sitting in this bed. I was staying there overnight for some reason, and I had kids around me, and I was telling them this story about souls, reincarnation. I don't even know where I heard that stuff from. It was the communist Russia. It was like 80s. And apparently a lot of kids went home the next day and they cried and they had sleepless nights. So parents came to complain. One of my favorite books was written by Gogol. Gogol is like Russian Shakespeare, called Death of the Souls. And I read it, I don't know, 10 times by the age I was 8 or 9. So this is always, that soul purpose, that's something, the life purpose has always interested me. And now what I'm doing is actually very linked to what I used to really be fascinated about in my childhood. This one woman I used to work with, she was very confused. She was also in a job. She didn't know what kind of business to start. And she told me she absolutely hates journaling. But it actually turned out she wanted to write a book. And the reason she suppressed it is because she was criticized. But in her childhood, she loved writing. So it's just something, if you're wondering, you don't know where your life is going, what you're meant to be doing, go back to your childhood and look for some clues there.
I also think that just quiet in your mind and just listen to that voice, that quiet voice, who knows, that knowing, and only you know the difference between what is the loud voice in your head to that silent knowing. And we have like an amazing new coffee shop around my house, and there is one lady, quite old, and she enjoy making coffee. She's like pushing 60 or whatever, but whenever I come in the morning after I'm finishing my exercise and we're drinking coffee, I love to see how she is in love with doing that. Her eyes lit up, and she knows all the brands. And when you come in, she's small talk, and she knows who you are. And she's saying, "What do you feel like?" And I like change from milk to soya like about a week ago, and she remember, are you sticking to your switch? And it's so nice to see somebody who is light up and love his work of serving coffee. And we're not talking about the actual thing you do, we're talking about the fire inside, what lights you up, what doesn't look like a chore for you, what drives energy to you, and you are not tired or dragged out of doing that. It's actually creating a loop that it's what we call giving and receiving. You're doing something, but you're actually gaining energy back to yourself. So I started the conversation by asking questions, because I'm really always confused about people using terms that not necessarily they do the deep investigation of actually understanding. So we're putting the title of a purpose. At least let's understand what the purpose means, because I was a CEO. I used to hear about young people that came to be developer, and then, sorry, I can't do this. I'm going to do green energy or whatever. I have to give to the world. I'm all about giving to the world, but that if you're talking about purpose, let's understand that if you are in your purpose, it has nothing to do with the output. And it's okay to work for a green energy or whatever, but that's not the purpose. It's a title, it's a nice conversation around the dinner table on Friday with friends or Saturday evening. It doesn't mean that you answer your question. Everybody will make his decision, his choices, but we wanted to be clear that purpose is not a title, it's the fire inside, it's what lights you up, it's what gives you energy, it's the driving force of who you became to be here. And we will continue hearing me say that there is one you at the whole universe, and that lady, even there is probably million of other people making coffee, she is the only one who's making coffee for us. She's the only one who remember us. She's one. So, be happy and just be that one you intended to be. That's all we're saying with purpose.
Yeah, and it's a great point, because whenever you are living your purpose, or you find that thing, is about how you feel, because when you are in alignment with who you came here to be, you'll never feel drained by it. And we did a video on burnouts where we actually were talking about it. You don't burn out because you work hard enough. You burn out because you're being out of alignment, out of integrity with yourself. So purpose is something that energizes you, something that inspires you, something you're passionate about, like that lady with the coffee, or like me talking about the stories about reincarnation, the 6 years of age, and it's still my purpose to talk about stuff like that, whatever that is. But we all find it within us. And yeah, we can go back to our childhood to really understand, to remember things we loved, and spend, like Sarit said, just spend some time in silence, just like asking, connecting, listening, because there is a lot of answers that you can find in silence.
And I used to tell people when I started the journey, and I used to tell people, go back to your childhood. I usually said, but I'm not for digging. I don't want to go dig.
Digging, what do you mean?
Meaning, like, well, I don't, I want to say my age, but going back to my childhood, it's a lot of years. So we need to go deep in to get layers.
I thought you physically used to like dig the soil or something. Like, I was like, maybe you were meant to be a digger. I don't know.
No. So they say, if you want to dig that, I will dig up my childhood. Can you bring something that is more close?
Some memories are so vivid, like, they just don't go away, right? I've got certain memories at the age of 5 and 6 that I remember so vividly. And for me, it was not a brainer. The only thing was, I was like, how could I forget that? That's what used to light me up.
All the same, I'm just offering another opportunity and sharing a common reaction I used to get.
But that's what you said, like spending some time by yourself in silence, contemplating, journaling, and you may just remember that one memory, which will shake everything for you. And you're like, that's what I want to do. This is where I see myself going. And it doesn't mean you've got to quit your job and change everything in your life and just, no, but at least it gives you that peace of mind, and you can start just taking even small little steps towards it, if that's what you're inspired to do.
Well, not about how you get it. We just wanted to make sure you find it. Once you will find it, we will do a different video and giving you tips on how you get there.
Yes, good one, because that's like a whole
A
different
whole different story.
we'll need a playlist for that. Yeah, cool, guys. Well, let us know whether you find that something in your life that inspires you, that motivates you, that, you know, really kind of sets your heart and soul on fire. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely. So like, subscribe, share, and we will see you next time.
Bye for now.